Hello, Pinole community. I'm Laurel Martin. I'm chair of the Pinole Community Services Commission. With me are two other commissioners, Debbie Ojeda, Bob Kopp. Today we had, after 2 years hiatus, we had our resumed having Community Service Day, which we do projects around town. All ages are welcome. So we're just encouraging you to come out next year. We do cleanup in the parks. We do a variety of things. What else are we doing today, Debbie?
Well, we cleaned up the community corner, or we tried to. We spread fresh mulch up at Amber Swartz Park, Pinole Valley Park, and the library and tennis courts. There was weeding and mulch going on. We had Breakfast of Champions here before we started. And this afternoon, we had delicious lunch from Kinder's and from Round Table. So we, take care of our volunteers. It's a lot of work, but it's a lot of fun. If you'd like to be a member of the commission, please contact the City of Pinole or a member of the Rotary or the Lions. I think we're all a bunch of do-gooders and so grateful to be part of and have good health.
We had 10 projects this year.
Yep.
Normally we'll have more, and next year we will. And so come out next year when you see the flyers and everything going out, and come and join us. You can come for a couple of hours, have a spot of breakfast, off you go to your project, meet some new people in the community, and bring your kids.
It's a lot of fun, and it's a worthy project, help and serve our community, and be the change that we'd like to see. Instead of talking about it, we'd like to do it.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Yeah, I guess I will say something. Actually, I met some people who've been in Pinole for a long time. They didn't know anything about this. Come out, get involved with the Community Service Commission, Dumpster Day if you live in Pinole, and coastal cleanup. That's another thing. You'll meet a lot of Pinole residents that's out trying to do good for the city of Pinole, make our city cleaner, and get everybody more acquainted with different factions of things that we do in our town. We need more involvement from the citizens at the council meetings and at every faction of the city of Pinole. People need to get involved, and this is a good crew.
Well, also, I don't know if we mentioned the youth, but we love to have more youth here. They really enjoy it, and next year I know there's going to be a lot more people.
And for the youth, I will mention that we give an opportunity to do community service hours. We link with the schools, and we can provide documentation which can be used next year or this coming school year. So please come out. We're looking forward to seeing you. Bye.
Yep.
Hey, good morning, everybody. My name is Vincent Salimi, and you are joining us here in Pinole TV to unveil the plaque of our former city engineer, Dean Allison. I'm here with some community member, and I'm very, very happy to have you here. I would like to first hand it to our Rotary Club President, Jill. Good morning, Jill. How are you?
I'm doing great. Thank you so much.
Can you please tell us a little bit about what we are doing today and who's going to be speaking next?
Yeah, so we have today a bunch of community members, Pinole Rotarians, and friends and family of Dean Allison. So thank you to the mayor, the city council members, to our public works director, Sanjay, to Andrew, and everyone for allowing us to remember Dean Allison with this plaque. I also want to say a special thank you to all the Rotarians that are behind me here that made this possible. I actually did not know Dean Allison, but I do know all about the Pinole Rotary Club he loves so much. In my 4 years in the club, the same number as Dean, I have made several close friends while learning more about what makes this community so impactful. From park cleanups to fundraisers and scholarships, we really take joy in coming together to make positive contributions to Pinole and to the Bay Area. And I know that's exactly what Dean appreciated about the Pinole Rotary Club, because we're standing here in the fruits of his labor, Amber Swartz Park, a place Dean worked to help ensure people remember and honor another person who has gone too soon. A place where anyone can come and enjoy the warm sun and the cool Pinole breeze while adding a little peace to their day. So thank you, Dean Allison. Your Pinole Rotary Club friends miss your enthusiasm and your generosity, but are thankful to have known you. I myself have heard only glowing things about you, Dean. And I know with this plaque, people will continue to get to know and remember you as we all do. So thank you to everyone for coming out today to honor and remember Dean Allison. Thank you.
Thank you, Jill. The City Council approved this memorial in the month of May, and I'm very, very honored to now let's speak former mayor of the city of Pinole, Roy Sorensen. Roy, good morning, sir.
Thank you, Vincent, or Mr. Mayor. And thank you all for coming out today and the Rotary Club for putting this program together. It's been a long time coming. They've been working on it for several years, but it took some push and shove to get it through the city. So we have it in tow now, and it looks like Dean's going to finally get what he really deserves, and it's a place in Pinole. Dean came to us. He was born in New York, but he came to us from Southern California. He had a job down there as an engineer, and he was unhappy with his position and started putting applications out. And Pinole got his application. We were in need of an engineer and a public works director. And Dean came and joined us in 2006, late 2006. He meant a lot to this community. He had an investment here. He came here and he bought a home here, and he made friends here. His only family was back in New York, and they were both mostly cousins, and he made new friends here. Many of them are here today, and some very close ones were myself, Jeff, and Tim. And he not only made friends of us, but he made us friends with each other, because we didn't like each other, you know. And Dean made us get along. And so you got to give him a lot of credit for that. He improved all aspects of this community. He had an investment here, and he wanted to make it right. He worked 6 or 7 days a week most of the time, and it wasn't unusual on a Saturday morning for me to get a phone call about 7 or 8 a.m. and say, "Hey, what are you doing?" I said, "Dean, I'm just having my morning mocha." He said, "Well, take a ride with me." And so we'd go around the community, and he used my expertise as a construction person to bounce stuff off of. He did the same thing with Tim, and he did the same thing with Jeff and Pete and others, because he had no staff. He had nobody to help him. And so he found people that knew things that he could utilize them as assistant staff, so to speak. He was very good at that. One of the best projects I think that he ever took on was ConocoPhillips got in trouble with the government, and something about pollution or something like that. I won't go into detail, but they wound up with several $1 million, I think in the neighborhood of $6 million, that they had to delve out to West County in improvements, especially energy improvements in their community. Dean found out about it, and I was mayor at that time, and Dean said, "Take a ride with me." So, okay. So we went out and we talked to ConocoPhillips. They put us in touch with the right people, and we managed to get funding, about $800,000 worth of funding, to put solar panels on the swim center and the youth center. And we had more plans than that, but unfortunately it was a shovel-ready type of thing, and we didn't have the swim center nor the city hall shovel-ready to do it. And we had to run around pretty fast to make sure that we were shovel-ready so we could get the $800,000. But that's how we got those solar panels. But those were the kind of things that Dean did for this community. And he did them over and over again. As you ride down Pinole Valley Road and you're close to the Trader Joe's and that part of town, and then the other side of town where Sprouts is, you'll notice the berms and the lights in the center of the street. That was all Dean's idea and all his promotion. And he put that all together so we would have a better entry into our community and make people want to come here. That was one of his main, I think, contributions. So remember him every time you see those lights. He was so proud of those lights. He just come to see how my lights down there. I said, yeah. They also have the ability to put, if the city ever gets around to it, holiday signs on them. They have the holders up there, and you could actually put Christmas signs, Thanksgiving signs, whatever you want could be put up there. Flags is what I'm talking about. He took on a sewer treatment plant proposal, what had happened was we were having a lot of difficulty making headway on that project. There was a lot of conflict, and there was some pressure from the West County sewer treatment plant in Richmond to have Hercules go to Richmond with their sewer and with their waste management. And Dean took it on, and he finally proved to Hercules that that's not going to work. It's going to cost you a lot more money than if you came to Pinole. And he finally, through his spearheading, pushed the deal through. And we had to, because we were in danger of going into some serious fines with the state at that time if we didn't get the project underway. And they were threatening, and Dean was putting them off, and they were threatening, and Dean was putting them off. And finally we got an agreement with Hercules. But most of that was due to Dean's leadership. And you want to thank him for that, because he's the reason that we now have a program with Hercules where we can share the cost of our treatment plant. Anyway, I feel very fortunate to have had Dean for my friend for the number of years that I had. I miss him all the time, and I will continue to miss him. And there's other things that he did and other fun things that we did from time to time, and he was always a pleasure to be around.
Thank you, Mayor Sorensen. Then I would hand it to Mayor Banuelos. Good morning, sir.
I met Dean. When I was on the Planning Commission the first time. I met towards the end, between going from Planning Commission to City Council. I met Dean, and it was kind of one of those things. He called me up and said, "Hey, you want to go look at some pavement?" I said, "Well, I'm outside now. I'm looking right at it." No, let's go drive around and look at it. I said, "Okay." And then he showed me. He had all these plans of how he was going to save money by doing things early. And during that time, the bulk of the time that Dean was here, he was dealing with, almost no budget, because of the times that, at the times that it was. And he was really good at making money last and finding places where he can do a little bit, and it would go a long ways with only a little bit of resources. So he was really good at that. Everything we see around here, you can go all over town and see everything from, the streets that were a little bumpy that now are still holding up pretty good because he did it at the right time, all the way down to the landscape and the islands. Those are all Dean's things. And they happened in his head way before there was even the money to even think about it. So he was always planning ahead. So I was going and looking at pavement. There was a leak up here somewhere where it was shooting up like little fountains, and he said, "Oh, you want to come see the leak?" Because back when it used to rain, the sewers would flood and the storm drains would flood. And he goes, "You want to go see some leaks?" "Sure, let's go." And so we drive around, and he'd show, "Well, we're going to do this. We can do this here. We have this plan for the sewers, but we can do a little bit at a time. We're going to start right here." And he had it all figured out. And, he saved the city a lot of money, and he was very proud of how things turned out. He would show me places, like behind the Sprouts, the little bridge that goes up Henry. There's a little place, if you go around and go behind that, there's this little place. And he goes, "I bet no one ever sees this. Isn't this pretty?" And it was really nice, and it was just done, but it just turned out nice. But it was just a little bridge, and he loved little places like that in town. And so when he was, in his mind, when he did things, he was always thinking of, things that no one would expect. And so it was really something. There was a time when, downtown at the corner there where, we had the green construction fence, and this person here was saying, "Hey, can't we do something with the construction fence?" And we said, "Can we get rid of it?" And so she kind of put the idea, and the marbles in Dean's head started spinning, and he goes, "Well, we have no money, so we can't power it up, we can't grow anything there, so let's get some red rocks," and asked me if I could do sort of a little layout, and ran it by you and said, "Yeah, that works, huh?" And then I did a little sign, and several people were involved in putting the sign together, and that was all kind of Dean's, with your, idea, but he pushed it through, and I kind of helped him a little bit on it, but and now there it is. So someday, if there's ever a building there, we're gonna have to go there with a chainsaw and steal the sign before they take it away. But that's the kind of stuff that Dean did. He loved this city. He loved living here, and he loved working here. And I'm really glad to see that we're doing this today. In some ways, it's the least we could do. So Thanks, everybody, and I'll hand it back to you.
Thank you, Mayor Banuelos. Now I would like to hand it to the best mayor that we ever had, Pete Murray. Good morning, sir.
Good morning, Mr. Mayor. Thank you. Thank you for that introduction. I think that there are a few people who probably give you an argument about that, but maybe me being one of them. But yeah, Dean, I looked at Dean as the epitome of what a public servant should be. And you've heard all about all of his accomplishments and his projects and all of that, but I looked at him as the man. What I saw when I looked at Dean is I saw someone that would take the time to talk to anybody in the community. Anybody that had a question or anybody that had an idea, Dean took the time to sit down and not just passively talk, but seriously talk to the person and try to incorporate those ideas and anything that was going on. Maybe it would work, maybe it wouldn't work, but he listened and he spoke and he interacted with the community, and that's what I call public service. And his heart was here. You heard that he lived here, and that made it even, I think, more imperative with him to make sure that the town was functioning and everybody was happy. And that's what I saw. I saw that as electeds, we were always happy because he always sat down and gave us the complete picture of things that were out there and projects that could be done, as was noted earlier. And it was just, he was very thorough and he was very genuine. And I think that when somebody's genuine and honest, you get an appreciation, you feel comfortable, you feel good that they're doing the job. And I think that was what I missed when he left, was that, can you ever find somebody to take his place and do it in the same fashion and manner that had the community's best interest at heart. And I just wanted to note that when I looked back at this tree today, I wasn't expecting it to look so wonderful, and I think maybe Dean's still around, and doing his best for us. So with that, I just want to say Dean was a blessing to the community, and we were lucky to have him while we did. So thank you, Mr. Mayor, and thank you everybody that's here today to honor him.
Thank you, Mayor. I also would like to let you know that we also have Mayor Jack Mayhem. Good morning, sir. And I would like to, before I hand it back to Mr. Jeff Rubin, I would like to hand it to a former mayor and city council member, existing city council member, Norma Martinez Rubin.
Thank you, Mayor Salimi. We're outdoors. I got to be the Zoom mayor for 2021. It's great to be outdoors and see as many familiar faces and then some new ones. I would like to see more new ones. At some point, we get to pass on what we have learned ourselves, and also from the staff that oftentimes are just behind the scenes. And yet, from all that we've been hearing about Dean Allison, he's left so many things for us to enjoy as residents. Whether you know who's behind those projects or not, it comes a time when you get the benefit of actually meeting the people behind those projects. Today, we've got Sanjay Mishra, who is now our Public Works Director, so please avail yourselves of that opportunity to meet him and also to provide the input that is so helpful for city staff and city council members to know what residents are interested in having as quality of life items for continued enjoyment of our precious city. I thank you all for being here, and I've got to say that I knew Dean in a different way before I was a council member. I'm wearing a 2011 Community Services T-shirt day T-shirt back for community services in 2011, and it was at that time I think that I knew him less, but over time I got to enjoy his friendship and also appreciated that not only was he a resident here and staff here, but he was also a patron, if you will, of many events that we enjoyed as residents, as well as a consumer of some local eateries, both large and small. where we would meet after different meetings and just, let off some steam, because as you may have heard, being on council isn't always the kind of light activity that could happen. And so having a room and time and shared experiences with staff who also get to hear a lot of the good and not so good going on in town is always helpful. Thank you, Dean Allison, for your friendship, and thank you also for giving me the liberty to enjoy that friendship. You'll hear more about that from Jeff Rubin, because it freed me from having to learn much more about sports, something that really isn't my forte. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Mayor Martinez Rubin. They always say that behind a great man, there's a great woman, but today, behind a great woman, there's always a great man, and I would like to introduce you to Mr. Jeff Rubin.
Thank you, Mayor Salimi. Dean Allison loved streetlights. He loved the wastewater treatment plant. He loved the New York Mets. And he loved a nice piece of fish. He loved politics, he loved history, and he loved this city. And he loved a nice piece of fish. When the phone rang and I'd hear, "Hey, buddy boy, I know dinner, likely at Happy Sashimi, and a ride to look at streetlights and the wastewater treatment plant was how I'd be spending my evening." And I can tell you there were many trips to the wastewater treatment plant and streetlights all over West County and central Corsicana County. He loved streetlights. Dean was smart, he was funny, he was thoughtful, and he was as good a friend as anybody could have. A week before his death, he came to my house for a meal I knew he didn't enjoy, because Norma and I did not serve him a nice piece of fish. Dinner wasn't the purpose of his visit that day. Earlier that afternoon, Norma and I euthanized our beloved dog Monk, who we had loved for 16 years. Dean knew this, and he called just before he left work in San Rafael and said he'd like to come over. He came over. He ate. I don't remember what it was, but I'm sure he didn't like it. And he came over to commiserate and to listen while we grieved. 7 days later, Dean was gone. To this day, March 4th, remains a day of some sadness and reflection for me. I really miss my friend. Vincent?
Thank you, sir. We all miss him, even though I've not had the opportunity to meet him in person. What I can tell you is that today we have a huge, broad variety of people who normally would not be in the room together. But what I can tell you is that Dean really gathered everybody together, and I've never heard such a good feedbacks from somebody I've never met since I've been here in the city of Pinole for the last 4 years. Next, I would like to introduce you to Madame Yvette Rico. Yvette?
Good morning, everyone. It's a beautiful day. I also have very fond memories of Dean as the president of the Pinole Chamber of Commerce during the time that he was a staff member. I found him to be kind, attentive, and willing to help in any way he could, which is sort of a rare thing to imagine that a staff member might be willing to do, to go above and beyond. But he loved Pinole, as everyone has said, and he loved his city, and he was from New York, I'm from New York, so we got along very well. We had many lunches at Happy Sashimi. So all the things that everyone else has said about him are absolutely 100% true. When we decided, as Tim mentioned, to turn the corner on San Pablo and Tenant Avenue into something other than an eyesore, it was Dean and Roy Swearingen who came to my assistance when I was with the Chamber of Commerce to make that a reality. And that corner really belongs to everybody because we worked very hard on a day like today, although it was raining, Community Service Day, to create that corner. And much of it due to the work and the partnership and friendship of Dean Allison with myself and everyone who was involved in that process. I've had personal times with him. I had one time I had a batch of Puerto Rican eggnog, which is called coquito, and I asked him if he'd like some, and he said, yeah, come on up. And there went the rest of the afternoon. But very, very loved Dean. I think he was a star amongst us, a rare opportunity to be with a person of his character. And the the Rotary, now I wear my Rotary hat, and I am a member of the Rotary. I'm on the board of directors. The Rotary started this process several years ago. I know that it's been taking some time, but there were some hiccups along the way. And so this year, Jill asked if I could try and move it along a little bit. So I found where the obstacles were and was able to go over those obstacles so that we are here today. We're almost where we wanted to be. We don't have the actual official plaque yet that will go there, but the Rotary will hold another event when the plaque is actually ready. So in the interim, we have a placekeeper, which is just a PDF of what the plaque will be. And this rock, by the way, I want to tell you a funny story about the rock. When I was asked to see this process move along, one of the big obstacles was finding a rock to put the plaque on. And so I went to places that sell rocks, and I looked at rocks, and they were very expensive, and it was a real problem to get a rock here. But I walked over to that corner there one day, and I said, what about these rocks? And there was a pile of rocks up there, and I'm like, gosh, I don't see why we can't use one of these rocks. So I called John, the guy who's making the plaque, and I said, meet me down here, look at these rocks with me. And he picked out the rock you're going to see today. And Maureen and Joe Toms recently moved that rock here. So this has all been a really pleasant and wondrous experience because all along the things we needed were here. Mm-hmm. And today we're going to memorialize Dean and thank him for all the things he's done for Pinole. Thank you.
Thank you, Yvette. This is amazing that just even for his memorial, the rock was already here. He really thought about everything. It's meant to be, exactly. Next, I would like to introduce you to a great community leader, Mr. Bob Kopp. Good morning, Bob.
Well, thank you very much, Mayor. I met Dean Allison when he came to work here. I'm an electrical contractor, installed traffic signals and lighting. One of the things that I really remember, he came to me and wanted to know, we need a street light down at this particular park we're at. And he said, we don't have any money for it. I said, well, I tell you what, I have a used one. And if you want to take a look at it, we can put it up. So we took a look at it, and it matches this one down here. It was a pole that we actually took down on a project. And I told him, well, my company will put it up for nothing. Is that good enough for you? He says, yeah, I really like nothing. He says, that's because we don't have any money for it. But as far as an engineer, I worked in Minium over 40-something years. He was one. He would call me sometimes if the street lighting job was coming out and ask me questions about what kind of fixtures to use and things like this that I've been, involved with for years. He was an engineer that would listen to the normal public, like anyone here. He would listen to anything you had to say and take and figure out if it'll work in with his plan. And I really appreciate the guy very much. Thank you.
Thank you, Bob. That really shows about the community and about how much Dean cared about the community. And sometimes you can be an engineer, but the people who have hands-on experience are the people who can really build something. And that really shows that your years of experience have really helped the community as well in collaboration with Dean. I would like to now let the rest of the public to talk, and I believe a member of the Rotary Club, Debbie, would like to also say something. Good morning, Debbie.
Thank you, Mayor, and everyone that's here today. It's a wonderful turnout in Dean's honor, and I just had a quick story, another one about Dean and how on top of it he was. On a community service day, I had asked him if he would go and look at the street lights at the top of Canyon where Appian Way crosses, because my husband had been in a wreck there and everybody else, and he just took one look at it and said, "Oh, we just need to," I don't remember his words, but we just need to change the direction and move this and that and the other. And he had it done the next week, and voila, no more accidents, no more car accidents. And that's just how he was. And he was a dear man, and he really did bring the community together. We should remember Dean when we're having little quiet spats, and remember him and how he worked so hard to bring us together. And I'm just so grateful to be here with my Rotary Club and with Laurel, our Community Services Commission, and to be part of this day and to dedicate this to Dean Allison along with the tree. Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you, Mayor.
You're welcome, Debbie. Do we have any other member of the public who wish to talk today that have not expressed themselves? Thank you, everybody. Before I move on to the next item, I would like to introduce you to our new Public Work Director. He joined us about a little bit less than a year ago, and our new Public Director, his name is Sanjay Mishra. Good morning, Director Mishra. Can you please tell us a little bit about this plate and how much contribution you have made?
For this place? Well, I don't have much of a contribution for this place. The only thing I can say about that, I had the opportunity to work with Dean for a very short while. I was a consultant during that time, and for Appian project, my company was working here, and I replaced one of our inspectors, and that is maybe for about a couple of weeks. That is the time I had a short interactions with Dean. So that was my extent of working with him. This Community Service Day here today is really about volunteers and helping this community spread the mulch here and all that. That was an effort to get some credits for the SB 1383 and get this program moving. And also I helped with Andrew Murray, our city manager, to just help with the community, the Rotary Club and everybody, just to put this event together and have our public works staff come and help us here. And just a small event, and I just wanted to participate and help out as much as I could. Thank you.
Thank you, Director Mishra. Excellent. Next item on the program, it's the unveiling of the memorial. So I would invite everybody to please join me around that plate, and we will unveil together that beautiful plate. And as Yvette Rico stated, the Rotary Club will be unveiling the existing plaque in a few weeks. Okay, thank you. So I will please invite everybody to come and join me here. Come closer. Thank you. I will actually ask to the person who has been the closest to Dean, probably Jeff, to take the honor to remove it. Thank you, Jeff, and here's the plate for Dean Allison. Thank you, everybody. I hope to see you soon. Have a great day.